Who's first?
Is it always interesting when you see what another team might approach, like Wake Forest did, a lot of dime field passes, a lot of trying to get pass interference or jump balls or different things? How much do you kind of take away from another team's game plan?
One thing I think every offense is a little bit different. And so what they do is they prepare their fronts, their coverages based on what they feel like they need to do to stop that team. Sometimes there's carryover, sometimes there's not. And so as a coordinator, when you're playing in a game, you have to realize and notice that. And so you see what they did and you tip your hat and say, man, it was a pretty good job what they did, but I don't know if we'll get the same thing or not.
Devin seems so calm and level-headed.
Yeah.
Is he that way in games, throughout games too, or do you have to kind of talk him out from time to time?
No, just refocus him from time to time. He's a fierce competitor and wants to win and wants to be perfect. And so sometimes if he feels like he's not, he gets down on himself, he's hard on himself. And then he's got to bring him back and just tell him, hey, you're good. Don't worry about all that stuff. And so, but yeah, I like our practices. We've had 2 really good practices. I like our focus where we're at. The guys are preparing hard.
Had he shared much with you about how badly he wanted to be Clemson in his college career? Was that something he talked often with people or kept it to himself?
No, he hasn't really shared that with me, but he could probably say that about everybody. He wants to beat everybody, so it doesn't matter who we play.
Devin just mentioned, obviously, squirting the water as you guys are practicing and trying to prepare for Saturday. Does that kind of throw a few different wrinkles in, given what the weather might be on Saturday?
Well, yeah, you got to prepare for as much as you can, right? Nobody knows for sure what's going to take place, so there's going to be crowd noise and there's going to be potentially bad weather, and so you just, as a coach, you feel like you check all the boxes when you at least, address those issues and you show them and you practice and you go through those things, so they're not shocked when it happens, because it's going to happen. And so they feel better, and we look at them and, hey, this is just like practice, remember? I'm like, yeah, gotcha, coach, and they move on.
When you're calling a game in bad weather, how does it affect what you're doing? Is that the kind of thing where you have to see how it's going to start and then figure out if the conditions are really as much of a factor as you thought they might be, or does it affect you even coming in to how you plan?
Again, I think most coordinators will have plans, just all kind of plans, right? They got plans if the weather's bad, right? They got plans if their starting quarterback gets hurt. They got plans if they're winning, plans if they're losing, just different things of what to do. And so, end of the game, what's your plan? How do you, and so you're very well prepared in terms of what you feel like you need to do given that situation. But it is also, you make those decisions as they happen. You don't necessarily, hey, we have to start the game like this. You might be unbelievable there and you can't even see across the side. Well, then you got to start the game that way. But if not, you kind of just build in and see what your kids can handle, players can handle, and what the conditions are.
With Goodwin taking over DC there, have you seen any changes, or is there still a defense that has Venables' hands on it? Fingerprints?
No, I think he has his own tweak to it, but I think it's a system, and he learned a system from Brent, and so I think there's a lot of similarities to it, but just what he does and how he does and when he does it is different than Brent.
How have you seen Tim Beck grow this offseason through the first 4 games this season?
Well, one, I thought his leadership became better. He kind of stepped out of his shell in terms of a unit, right? I think Tim has a great personality to begin with, but I do believe he was just much more vocal. And I don't know if it came with confidence from the weight room, playing, whatever, but it definitely showed, and it's helped him on the field. I'm really pleased. He's playing very aggressive, physical play on offensive line. He's improved his pass protection, which was one of the things that was his goal that he needed to work on. So we like where he's at. He's been a pleasant surprise for us.
How much of an emphasis was it to do a short controlled passing game against UConn? It seemed like Devin was really getting rid of the ball within a second or two.
Yeah, they were playing deep. When you got to take what they give you. Sometimes I've been stubborn and trying to push the ball down the field, and some teams aren't letting us, so we just took a deep breath and refocused and just kind of attacked where they weren't.
Is that good, everybody?